What is a Pythagorean theorem? The Pythagorean theorem is a math concept that tells us how to find the length of a single side of a right angle triangle when given the length of the other two sides. This theorem is actually named after Greek mathematician Pythagoras, who discovered it over 2,500 years ago. Now, the theorem states that in a right triangle, which is a triangle with a right angle, the square of the length of the triangle's longest side, also known as the hypotenuse, is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. In other words, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the lengths of the two shorter sides of the triangle, and c is the length of the hypotenuse. Now, in case you don't know what the hypotenuse is, it's basically the long diagonal side of a right angle triangle that doesn't have a right angle attached to it. This is the core formula that you need to memorize for the Pythagorean theorem. For example, let's say we have a right triangle as we do here. Let's say side A is 3 centimeters long and side B is 5 centimeters long. Now, the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared tells us that the square of the length of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides, which is 3 centimeters and 5 centimeters. Visually, these numbers represent the areas of the squares that sides A and B create, as can be seen here. Remember, a square is created when all four sides have equal length. So in side A's case, the square created has all of its sides measuring 3 centimeters. And in side B, that's 5 centimeters. So the idea of the Pythagorean theorem is that the area of these two squares combined will create the area of this square, the square created by side C. So now let's plug in these numbers into the formula to calculate the length of the hypotenuse. Since A is equal to 3 centimeters and B is equal to 5 centimeters, we know that 3 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. So we can quickly calculate that 3 squared equals 9 and 5 squared is 25. And that equals c squared. In this case, 9 is the area of this square and 25 is the area of this square. So now that we've gotten this far into the equation, all we got to do is add the 9 and 25 together, which equals to 34 equals c squared. So we've reached the final step. All we got to do now is to square root this number in order to find the length of the hypotenuse, to find c basically. So in order to do that, we have to square root 34 in order to find c. Now plug that into the calculator and it will give you 5.83 equals c. Let me just quickly make that neater. We found out that c equals 5.83. And there is your answer. So with the Pythagorean theorem, we've just figured out that a triangle that has one side that's 3 centimeters long and another side that's 5 centimeters long, the remaining side, known as the hypotenuse, is 5.83 centimeters long. The Pythagorean theorem is an extremely useful tool in geometry, as it is used to solve a bunch of problems regarding right angle triangles. It is also a fundamental concept in trigonometry, which is the study of angles and its relationships. So I hope you found this useful, and feel free to screenshot anything that I showed in this video for you to study, and yeah, good luck on your test or exam or homework.